This is what we have last time in terms that I give you this three set and I asked you to, given this three set, can we construct the Venn diagram? And we were to able to construct the Venn diagram, and I mentioned to you guys to construct the Venn diagram, basically you want to start in the center. You want to start in the center of your Venn diagram. So you look at X, W, and Y, you look at this item and you ask yourself, what do we have any item that is in all three, right? Which is, again, we mentioned this, which is we using this item, and whatever we use, we don't reuse it. So we start with C, which is C is in all three, which is in the center. Once we use it, we deduct them out. It's gone. We don't have to reuse C. And for me, once we do C, for me, I like to go start with the 3, then do the 2, right? This is the region of the 2, which is I do the WX. And I just fill in what does WX have in common, which is J, and XY, and then WY, which is this is the leftover after we use C that X, W, and Y have in common in that region. And lastly, we fill in the leftover of W, X, and Y. And then we fill over whichever left over from the universal that we not use. So this is your typical Venn diagram of a 3 set, or this is the Venn diagram for a 3 set for our class. So once we have the Venn diagram, you don't have to use the Venn diagram to analyze your problem, because this is what we did yesterday. This is what we have yesterday in terms of the follow-up question. The question is, they ask you for the 3 set operation, and I would hoping that you can look at the Venn diagram and answer. But since that construct, that create a lot of confusion among you guys, so let's attack this another way. Let's attack this another way. And like I mentioned to you guys, we only have this 3 operation. We have only this 3 symbolic. If you see the caret sign, if you see any caret sign, whatever the caret sign that you see, it's just basically tell you that give me the element that is not in the region below, right? Give me the element that is outside of X, that outside of Y, that outside of W, that outside of the whole item. So whenever you see that apostrophe or the caret sign, that tells you that give me everything else that is not in that region. And vice versa, whenever you see the union, which is whenever you see this item right here, they tell you to be in short, take the two region and add them together or combine them together. So whenever you see this upside right side U, right, this tell you take the 2 region on the side, whatever this region and whatever this region, add them together. Take the 2 region on the side of this item, add them together, combine them together. And whenever you see the right side U, which is the intersection, they tell you what does the 2 region have in common. What does this region on the 2 side, what does the 2 region on the 2 side have in common? So as you can see, in all of the 3 problems I give you on the screen, we all have the apostrophe, we all have a right side U, and we all have an upside down U, which is whenever you see the upside down U, you just ask yourself, what do they have in common? So the difference between those, right, the right side U, we combine the 2. The upside down U, we find what they have in common. So let's start with this thing first. As you look at the problem, you can see that we need an X prime, or the apostrophe X, apostrophe Y, apostrophe W. So because we need that, let's first find that, right? Let's find the W prime. Let's find the complement of W. So how do we find the complement of W? Well, the complement of W tell me whatever W is, I don't want it, right? Basically, whatever in W, so you see that this is in W, this is in W, this is in W, this is in W, and this is in W, which is W prime is basically whatever left over from the universal set. Basically, what is outside of W. So if you look at the Venn diagram, the Venn diagram, W is right here, A, B, C, J, F. What is outside of W? Everything else, which is again, D, E, G, H, and I, that is what we have. You can either look at the Venn diagram and give me the item outside of W, or you can go into your universal set and cross out what is in W. Whatever in W is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the item outside of W, which is everything left over. So that is where my W prime came from, okay? So like, as you can see on the definition, of this item here, whenever you see apostrophe, is basically tell you, give me the item outside of W, which is everything else outside of the red circle. Similarly, X prime is what is outside of the blue circle, or whatever left. If you throw away the C, throw away the H, throw away the I, and throw away the J. So what is left if you don't include the C, H, I, and J, which is again A, B, D, E, F, and G, or anything or everything outside of the blue circle is X prime. And lastly, Y prime, which is outside of the black circle, we have A, E, G, J, and I, or basically whatever in Y, we don't want it, we throw away Y, right? Well, we throw away the item in Y, which is the B, the C, the D, the F, and the H. So the leftover, we have A, E, G, and I, and J, right? So that is how you find A prime, or A apostrophe, if you want to call apostrophe. But again, it's A prime or the complement, well, not A, it's Y. Y prime or a complement of Y, okay? So that's how we find the prime. That is how we find the prime. So the reason why I find a prime is because I mentioned every particular problem, we have the prime in there. So might as well just find it so we have it for a reference, okay? So now let's take a look at A. If you want to do A, and you don't want to, again, if you see the Venn diagram, good for you. If you don't see the Venn diagram and you see the Venn diagram confuse you, well, this is the other way. The other way is we have to do it by hand. We have to manually do it by hand in terms of this. So for every math class, if we have a problem, we have multiple operations, there's a parenthesis, and if there's a parenthesis, we want to work inside the parenthesis first. And if we work inside the parenthesis, do you agree that this is what we have? We don't care. For now, we don't care about this item. We don't care about that item. We just care about the inside and parenthesis. So if you look at inside parenthesis, they tell you that X prime or apostrophe X intersection with Y. So what does the intersection tell me? Well, the intersection tell me is what does the two items have in common? So what does the two items have in common? Meaning, what do they share? Do you agree that they share B, they share D, and they share F? Which is, again, this is the item. If you read this, if you want to use a Venn diagram, this is the item outside of X, but inside Y. And that's what we did yesterday. The three items that inside Y and outside of X is the B, the D, and F, which is what does the two region that I'm looking for. This is the first region. This is the second region. What does the two region have in common, which is the D, the E, the D, the B, and the F. So everybody see the common or the intersection. And that's what we have. Right? We need to find inside my parenthesis, and inside my parenthesis, they tell me to take this region, which is X prime, intersects with Y, which is what does the two items have in common? What does the two region have in common? So those are the three items that are in common. You only list the three items that they have in common. Once you have that, now we are done with the parenthesis. Whatever in your parenthesis, we don't, well, not that we don't care, but whatever inside your parenthesis is this right here. So your parenthesis is this item that we have. Now we know that this is what they asked you to do. They asked you to take W. And what does this operation tell you to do? Take W, combine that with what you just find. So clearly, all they tell you, take this item here, combine that with this item here. And if I take that item and I combine them, all you do is you combine them. And if they happen to repeat it, if you see that B and F repeated on both sides, if they happen to repeat it, we just write it one time. And that's what the union tell you to do, or the right side U tell you to take this item. The A, the B, the C, the F, and the J. Everybody see that the A, again, the A, the B, the C, the F, and the J. Those are my W. Let me use the other one. This thing look messy. Again, those are the item in the A, the B, the C, the F, and the J. Those are the item in W. I just take that item and add it with this item, which is the B and the F. The B and the F is repeated. I don't need to double write them. If you double write them, it's fine. It's not wrong. And again, we need to include that with the D, which is everybody see that I take this square and put them together, and that is how I come up with my answer. Okay. So yesterday, I figure if we were to, or hopefully, if you look at the Venn diagram and you can see it a little bit better, but it's backfire and it's confused some of you more. If you get confused with the Venn diagram, then basically just tell you, do it by hand like this. When you see the apostrophe, you throw whatever underneath that region out. When you see the right side U, you combine the two items on the side together. When you see the upside down U, you see what the two items on the side have in common. And we did the same yesterday, which is I say, again, the outside of X, inside Y, take that and put together with the W, and the answer is the same regardless of how you use the Venn diagram or you do it by hand. So first of all, let me stop and ask a question on how I got this answer in A in terms of the set contain A, B, C, D, F, and J. And that's the only two ways you can do it, ladies and gentlemen. Either you do it by hand, list out what you have, combine them, or see what they have in common, or you use the Venn diagram. There's no other way out. Some students like to do this. They saw that they can do step by step. Some students like to look at the Venn diagram and analyze it. It's up to you guys, but that's what you have to do. So let's take a look at B. Similarly, in B, we know that the first thing we want to do is we want to do inside the parenthesis. And inside the parenthesis, hopefully you guys see that, oh, what do we have? Well, everybody see that we need X prime, and that's why we have X prime here. We need a Y, and we have the Y here. So everybody see that those are the two regions we're looking at, X prime and the Y. And now what do they tell me to do? Well, they tell me take whatever X prime, take whatever this item is, and combine it with this item. And that's what the union tell me to do, is take X prime, right? Take X prime and combine that with Y. And if I combine that, and this is what literally what you're doing, guys. I take X prime. Everybody see that in my yellow item, A, B, D, F, G, D, F, G is X prime. I take that item and I put it together with the Y, which is B, C, D, F, H. And again, if you want to, this is all you do. That's how you combine. You take the first group, put it together with the second group, you're done. Alex will give you your credit, right? The only thing that they tell you is, well, if they repeat it, right? The B is repeated, you don't need to write it twice, right? If the B is repeated, you only need to write one time. The D is repeated, you need to write one time. The F is repeated, you can write it one time. You can write it twice. You can write how many times. Remember, inside your set, you can write as many times as you want. We don't double count it, right? So looking at this thing here, everybody see that the union tell me take the first region, which is my first region, I put it in yellow, combine that with my second region, which is my second region, I put in black, and I combine them together. And that's what the union tell me to do, is unite the two items together. And we're done, right? We're done with the union. Now, whatever the union, whatever inside my parenthesis, I don't, whatever inside my parenthesis is the item right here. That is the item I'm looking at. Those are the inside my parenthesis. Now they tell me, take this item inside my parenthesis, the thing that you just found out, take that item and outside of W, right? So between this outside of my W, which is my W prime, and this region, between these two regions, what does the operation? The operation tell me is, what do they have in common? So what do they have in common between this? Do you see that we have a D? We have a D in both. We have an E in both. We have a G in both. And we have a H in both, which is the item that they have in common. The item they have in common is just D, right? It's just D, E, G, H, okay? So this is what I did, which is I bring my, you don't have to do this if you have it on. I just bring my W, I just bring my W prime down here, and I just say I have D, E, G, and H. Those are the items they have in here, and those are the same item they have in here, and that is the only item that they ask you to do in terms of this problem here. So again, you can either do it, list them out like this, and just ask yourself if it's a intersection, we're looking for what they have in common. If it's the union, we're looking for, or we combine them together. All right. So first of all, question, maybe I should start with this yesterday, but yesterday is yesterday, last time. Question with A and B. Question of A and B, or question with this three definition: a prime, the union, and the intersection. All right, so let's attack C, right? Let's attack C. Run out of room, so let's open another slide. Same thing go, right? We disregard A and B. So C, same item. We know that we need to look for the thing inside your parenthesis. And be careful, ladies and gentlemen, this prime, this item is on outside of the parenthesis. So if it's on the outside parenthesis, don't distributive anything. Just do what you have inside your parenthesis. So what is inside my parenthesis? Do you agree that inside my parenthesis, they tell me to take W, combine that, put together with X, right? So literally, that's all you do. Literally, if you want to, you take W, and again, I coded my W is the red item A, B, C, F, and J, which is my W right here. A, B, C, F, and J. Combine with the X, which is C, H, I, J, C, H, I, J, right? So basically, literally, that's all you do. Because of the union, it doesn't matter. You just put the first item you see together with the second item you see. It's fine. They don't care if you repeat it, right? So once you have this thing here, is that what they asked me? Well, they turn around and they say, well, combine them together. That's what you did. But they turn around, they say, whatever you just combine them, I don't want it. Throw it away. Throw whatever you have in here away and give me everything outside of what you just have, which is we have to throw the A, we have to throw the B, we have to throw the C, we have to throw the F, we have to throw a J, the H, and the I. Everybody see that A, B, C, F, J, H, I is the thing that we need to throw out, which is, again, basically they tell you what is outside of the red circle and also outside of the blue circle, which is, everybody see that outside of that region, we have E, D, and G. Or if you throw away, if you X them out, we have D, E, and G, which is, that is the complement or the prime. Because of this prime, we need to give you D, E, and G. And now, once we have that, which is, everybody see that the first group, I'm done. What is the first group? The first group contains the D, E, and G. Now, the first group contains the E, G, E, D, G, E, D, G. Now they tell me, take that group and just give me what they have in common with this group, right? If it's not in common, I don't want it. So take the first group. Where is my first group? Do you agree that my first group is here? My first group, I did all the work. My first group is here. I need to take the first group, D, E, and G, and ask myself, what do they have in common? Which is, do you agree that they have in common the E and the G? Those are the two items they have in common, and those are the two items that I listed. Those are the things that inside is outside of the Y and also outside of the W or X. Okay. So again, looking at this thing here, hopefully, this is the one thing that we do is we break it down step by step. We take one operation at a time. Okay. And the only reason why I have W, X, and Y prime up here is because I know that I need it in the future. So I just make it a reference. I just go back and look at, so I don't have to do it each time, right? So looking at this thing here, question how I got the E and the G. And the key, ladies and gentlemen, same thing, right? The key is you have to know your definition. You have to know your notation. This is your definition. This is your notation. There's nothing else in terms of the set operation beside these three. They try, but we're not going to cover those. Okay, so this is the only three we have. And again, if you were to look at D, which is, again, we have to look inside my parenthesis first. And inside my parenthesis, they tell me take W, and see what they have in common with X prime. So everybody see that the prime is on the inside, so it's only illustrated with the X. So this is the operation we need to do. We need to do the intersection, which is the intersection. Tell me what does W and X prime share, which is, do you agree that we share or they share the A, the B, and the F, right? So if you look at that, if you list them out, this is what they have. What is W share with X prime? A, B, and F, right? What is in W but outside of X? So in W, which is A, B, F, C, J, but we need to have the thing outside of X, which is A, B, F. So that's why we have A, B, F. And now if you take a look at that, once we have that, this is what they tell you is once you have that item, all you need to do is take that item, whatever that item you just found out, combine that with Y prime. So whatever the item you just found out, we just found out this item. And now they tell you take that item you just found out, put it together with Y prime, and to put it together, all you do is just combine them, which is everybody see that my first item, ABF is the first group. Combine them with the Y prime, which is AEGIJ, which is AEGIJ. And again, literally, this is all you need to do. This is all you need to do. If you want to give them like this, make sure you have a bracket in between the comma. So if you want to give them this, they accept it. Alex accepted. Okay, and again, if you are nice, then you don't double, you don't write the A, you don't double write the A, and I think that's the only thing is double, right? But again, basically that's your answer. Okay, so first of all, question on how to do this here individually by hand. Question how I have to answer yellow here for C and D. So if they give you, and again, on the weekend or whenever you do your test, they will give you this problem, okay? And again, you just do it by hand, list out individually, and then either cross them out or combine them, okay? So if you don't have question, hopefully that is clear up a little bit in terms of the definition, in terms of the notation, or in terms of when you see something, what do we do, okay? The last item we have.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will it also show the Venn diagram as well? Like it'll
No,
always show the Venn diagram. Oh, you'll have
no.
to make it
I mean, this Venn diagram, I make it, you know, so
Oh,
you
okay.
have to make your own Venn diagram. So
Okay.
pretty much this item right here, pretty much this item, you have to come up with this item here, and you have to come up with this item. So it's up to you. It's up to you. You can create your Venn diagram and use the Venn diagram to answer the question, or you can create the complement of each item. So this, remember your problem is only in black ink right here.
Okay.
This item was not even there too. This item is not on your problem too. I just put it here so that we have a reference of it. But this 3 item is not there, right? The only thing they give you is they give you this. They give you this item, and they will either ask you to construct the Venn diagram. So you have to construct the Venn diagram, which is we did it last time. This is what we have. Or they will give you this and they ask you to find this item here. So those are your questions, right? Anything in color is not there. So this is basically the only question they give you is they give you this item, they ask you to construct, or they give you this item, they ask you to find this item, okay? So this is the set and this is the element they ask you to do. Now they want to put it all together and they give you something in this nature, right? So let's say, and this is where most of the set theory used in terms of the survey. In terms of survey question, we ask them survey and now we want to form the survey. Can we analyze and deduct our way to our question, okay? So let's take a look at this item here. Before we look at the question, before we look at the follow-up question, if they give you this information, how can you analyze so that we can use what we have? So most of the time when they give you this information, they will ask you to construct a Venn diagram. And if you construct the Venn diagram, everybody see that we have 3 different sets. We have Burger King, we have Wendy, and we have McDonald's, right? So again, I just use this, like I mentioned, this is your only set for a 3-set Venn diagram for us, okay? For us, this is, if you have 3 different categories, this is your 3 set, okay? So if you look at this thing here, they tell you 650 were in the survey. What does that mean? That is the total people I ask, right? And out of that 650, 253 like to eat at Burger King, 312 like to eat at Wendy, 105 like to eat at Burger King and Wendy, 152 like to eat at Burger King and McDonald's, 194 like to eat at Wendy and McDonald's, 101 like to eat at all 3 restaurants, and 81 does not like to eat at any of the 3. So looking at this thing here, one thing is do not just jump in and fill the number. Don't just go in and just add the number, because if you add the number, remember our total is only 650. If you just add this 3, it's more than 600 already, right? So you cannot just go and add the number in your Venn diagram. You have to analyze. So most of the time, this is the 2 things you want to looking for is all 3 and none of the 3, right? So again, all 3 and none of the 3, what does that mean? Do you agree that all 3 restaurants is the people in this region here? So where does the people eat all 3? Well, whoever in this item, they eat at Burger King, they in the purple circle, they in the green circle, and they in the orange circle, which is the 101 people eat all 3, which is they are in the middle, in the center. So that's where I have the 101 come from, which is, they give it me here, and they eat all 3. And what does it mean, none? Do you agree that, again, these people, they might eat at Popeye or Raising Cane or Chick-fil-A, anything else, but not this 3, which is, do you agree that 81 people do not eat at any of this 3, which is, this is the 82 people on our side. So that's the one thing you want to looking for first is, do they give us the all and the none? If they give us the all, is in the middle, overlap all 3. If they give us the none, then it's on the outside of all 3. So those are the 2 easy one to look at. So once you have those two, let's dissect what left. So if you go to this number 194, and 194 is Medano and Windy, which is everybody see Medano and Windy is this two item right here. The two regions that make up Medano and Windy is this two region. This region here is the overlap. I don't care about Burger King. I know that this two red dot, those are the region that make up the overlapping of Windy and Medano. And if I look at this thing here, they tell me 194. And if it's 194, and if you remember last time, I told you that the total capacity of this green region that I just shaded is equal to 194, but you already account 101. What does that mean? Meaning you need to take 194 and minus the 101 to give you the leftover of 93. And again, like I say, those two regions total equal to 194. So already we use 101, so we have to take 101, subtract that from 194 to give us 193. Or in term, 101 plus 90 to get me 104. So one thing is, if you start in the center, you need to work your way and subtract them out. Okay, so don't just go in and list. You have to read what information they give you. The only one that you see 101 is because there's all three, and 82 because it's none of them. And now we're done with the 194. We go to the next one, which is the next one. Tell me 152. What does it 152? Which is 152. Tell me the Medano people and the Burger King people. And just similar to the Windy and Medano, I already account for 101. I need to take 152, take away 101, and this will give me 51, which is the 51 on this item right here. And if you go up to the next number, same idea, right? The Burger King and the Windy, which is, I have 105 total, but I already account for 101. So now I need to subtract them to give me 4, which is the 4 item here. And these 4 people, ladies and gentlemen, these 4 people is the people who eat at Windy and also eat at Burger King, but do not eat at Medano, right? And this 93 people is the people who eat at Windy and also eat at Medano, but they don't eat at Burger King. And vice versa, the 51 is the people who eat at Burger King and Medano, but they don't eat at Windy. Okay, so those are the idea of this item here. So now if you go into the next, so everybody see where I using this number, right? The 94, the 152, and 105. And the next thing they tell you is, again, 312. Do you agree that they only tell you 312 eat at Windy? It doesn't matter if they eat at Burger King or they eat at Medano. As long as they eat at Windy, they fit the description that they eat at Windy. And again, what does that mean? Do you agree that this green item, the total capacity of this green item is 312? Now you have to ask yourself, how many have you accounted for in that green circle? And in this case, I already count 4. I already count 101. I already count 93, which is basically you take the 312 and minus whatever in that circle, or in this case, if you take 312 minus 198. And if you minus that, everybody see that there are 114 people outside, meaning there is 114 people just eat at Windy. Based on this survey, I have 114 people eat just at Windy. They don't like Burger King and they don't like Medano. They only eat at Windy only. Okay, and vice versa. The next item they ask us is not ask us, but they give us 253. And this is 253 people eat at Burger King, which is this group of item. And again, same thing go. My Burger King is 253, but how many did I account for? Which is I need to take 253 minus the 4. It's in my purple circle, minus the 101, minus the 51, which is if I take away those, I will get 97, which is we have 97 people who just eat at Burger King and not Wendy or McDonald's. Okay. And now, have we done? Well, we need to fill this thing here. If you do your homework, there's a slot here. We have to know how many people in McDonald's, right? So looking at this thing here, what left is this. Do you agree that the total number of people in this survey is 650? That's what they have, right? We survey 650 total. So in this rectangular, the number have to add up to be 650. So to do this thing here, all you do is you just take 650, which is the total population, or not the sample, which is the total sample in this survey. You take that and you subtract what you have already accounted for. You need to subtract the 97 that exists. You need to subtract the 4, subtract the 114, subtract the 51, subtract the 101, subtract the 93, subtract the 81. So if you subtract all of the number of the people that you accounted for, now you left up with 108, which is the 108 is in this region right here. So that is the idea of this problem. How can you take this number? How can you take this group of number and fill in the region that you needed? Now, let me stop and ask you guys question on where my number came from. Question of how to take this group of number. This is the only thing they give you, this group of number, analyze your data and put it in this region that you have here. Any question with that? If you don't have question with that, after this, life should be good. Just kidding. After that, the only thing we have is we need to use in what we just figured out. This is the Venn diagram I have. We just need to use in this Venn diagram to answer the follow-up question. So they ask you again, the first step, they ask you to construct the Venn diagram, or they give you the Venn diagram. So let's say if I give you this Venn diagram, now you have to answer this follow-up question. How many people eat at Wendy and Burger King, but not McDonald's? So remember, Wendy and Burger King, but not McDonald's, meaning anybody who is in McDonald's circle, you have to erase them out, right? So we cannot count any people in McDonald's because we don't looking for people eat in McDonald's, right? Now, remember the word and, right? What is the word and? If you remember, the word and is the intersection or the upside down U, which is the upside down U, meaning what does the two items have in common? So you can see where is the people who go into both Burger King and Wendy, or Wendy and Burger King. Do you see that there's only 4 people who are eating at Burger King and also eating at Wendy, but not eating at McDonald's? And that's the idea of this Venn diagram is we take the survey, we put in the Venn diagram, we take the Venn diagram and we answer our follow-up question. And again, it's only 4. We do not add this group of number. This group of number is people who eat at Burger King or Wendy, but not McDonald's. But this one here, they ask you for the and. There's only 4 people who eat at both locations and not McDonald's. And again, the word and is very restricted. The word and is they have to be inside both regions. Okay. And similarly, they ask you how many people eat at McDonald's. Do we care if they eat at Burger King? No. Do we care if they eat at Wendy? No. All we care about is we want to know the total people who eat at McDonald's, which is, do you agree that my McDonald's circle is my orange circle, or this is the group of people? Even though this 51 eat at Burger King, I don't care. They eat at McDonald's, I take that in consideration. As long as they eat at McDonald's, those are the people I'm looking at, which is, do you agree that all we need to do is take the 51 plus the 101 plus the 93 plus the 108. Those are the total people who eat at McDonald's. Okay, they won't ask you how many people eat at Burger King or Wendy because they give us the information before, right? 251 eat at Burger King, 312 eat at Wendy. They did not give you how many people eat at McDonald's, and that is why this question over here, they ask you how many people eat at McDonald's, which is you add all this number up. Okay. Now, question with A or B? And for C, they ask you how many people eat at Wendy or Burger King. So one thing is, do you agree that this is the Wendy or Burger King? Do they mention anything about, again, make sure that you see that A and C. This one, they give you another restriction. The restriction is, I don't want the people who eat at McDonald's. But this one here is just a general. I want to know how many people eat at Wendy or Burger King. Even though if they eat at McDonald's, I don't care. As long as they eat at Wendy or Burger King, give those people to me, right? So if you look at this thing here, the word or is the union. And if you remember what is the union, the right side U, what is the union? You just combine them together. And that's what the and is what they overlap, and the or, which is the union, which is you combine them. Take how many ever people in Wendy, add them together with how many people in Burger King. But do not give me the one that you double count, right? The overlapping, I don't want the overlapping. So basically all you do is you take each individual number, you take the 97 plus the 4 plus the 114 plus the 51 plus the 101 plus the 93. This group of people, and this two group of people are the people who eat at Burger King or eat at Wendy. Okay, so again, I agree, some of them eat at McDonald's, but we don't care. They don't tell us, they don't give us any restriction that I don't want the McDonald's people, right? They don't give us the restriction, just give them what they ask you. And how many people eat exactly one location or one restaurant? Do you agree that doesn't matter what restaurant, 97 of them eat at one location, 114 eat at one location, 108 eat at one location, right? These people only eat at Burger King and not the other two. These people eat only at Wendy, not the other two. And these people eat only at McDonald's and not the other two. So in this case, do you agree that if I add them up, those are the people, if I add them up, I have 319 of them eat at exactly one location. And lastly, how many people eat at McDonald's, but neither at Burger King, none Wendy? So again, neither meaning not Burger King and not Wendy. Basically, it's the same question. How many people eat at McDonald's only, right? How many people just eat only at McDonald's? Do you agree that there's only 108? 108 people eat only at McDonald's, right? They eat at McDonald's, but neither Burger King, none Wendy. Meaning, as long as they're in Wendy, we X them out. Wrong item. As long as they're in Wendy, we X them out. As long as they're in Burger King, we X them out. We don't care about those people. We only care about now. Based on this too, we know that these people didn't eat at McDonald's. This is the only people eat at McDonald's, but neither of the other two. Okay. So, first of all, question on this follow-up question on how we got the Venn diagram, and hopefully you guys can see the Venn diagram prior, and how to use the Venn diagram to answer the follow-up question here. Any particular question? So if you don't have question, and the one thing about math, right, is very unique in a way that we get to, they can change a few items, and then you have to kind of think a little bit different in order for you to analyze the problem, right? So let's take a look at this one here. And I took this question straight out from your homework or from your pie. If you run into this problem, they probably have a different number For me, they generate this number. So again, this is basically the question that you see on your pie chart on your homework, right? So one thing I want to point out is because the information they give you here is a little bit different. And and that's the hard thing about math is we give you the concept, and then we want you to take in that concept and kind of manipulate it or advance it, right? So we have the same concept. They give you some survey, but the way that they give you, the information that they give you is a little bit different from the prior question, okay? So if you remember this question that if you remember this question or the information they give you the total people in Burger King, the total people in Wendy, the total people of Wendy and Burger King, and so on, right? And if you look at this information, they give you the total is the same. They give you the total of tea is the same, right? But they give you something different here. They say 39 of the students drink both tea and coffee, but not milk. So we know that 39 of them drinking tea, both tea and coffee, but not milk. So remember, between this, we know that we cannot include the milk people, right? We exclude the milk out, which is we have this three region. Remember, what is the word and? The word and is where does they overlap. Okay, so if you look at the data carefully, this one here kind of spell it out for you. Okay, this one here, number 9 on our slide 9, this thing is not spelled out for you because they only say Burger King and Wendy, meaning in general Burger King and Wendy, these two items. Everybody see that the 4 and the 101 in general, those are the people eat Burger King and Wendy. But this question, they will say Burger King and Wendy, but not McDonald's, right? So if they give you this thing here, so let's see what they have. Do they give us all three? They don't, right? If you look at this thing here, 128 people, students drink both tea and milk, but not coffee. 81 drink coffee, but neither none. 121 drink milk, but neither none. 52 drink tea, but neither milk, none coffee. 609 drink at least one type of the three. So again, because they say at least one type, it's not all three type or it's not none, right? If you remember this one here, we say 101 people eat all three, right? In the other one is we say drink all three type of item. So that's what you have to be very careful is when do they give you the all, when do they give you the none, and when do they give you the at least, okay? So look at this thing here. We will go into, this thing is spelled out for you. We will not deal with this number yet. I mean, we can, but we don't want to do that. 39 of them drink both tea and coffee. Do you agree that this is where I can put in 39? Because both tea and coffee, that is where people drink tea and coffee, but not milk, which is, that's where my 39 came from. So distinguish, if you say, wait a minute, Mr. Tran, on the previous problem, you told me not to go in and put the number in. Yes, the previous problem, the information presented to you is different. This problem, the information presented to you different. So we just go in because they spell it out. You just go in and find that region. Tea and milk, do you agree that tea and milk is somewhere here, but not coffee, which is tea and milk is 128. Agree? And drink coffee, but neither tea nor milk. So drink coffee, but neither tea or milk. We cannot use in that number yet, right? So we know that, well, we can use that number, sorry. Do you agree that 81 drinking coffee, but neither milk nor tea? Meaning milk and tea is outside of milk and outside of tea circle. 81 is drinking coffee. 121 drink milk, but neither the other two, which is how many people drink milk only, which is 121. and 52 drinking tea, but neither milk, nor coffee. So looking at this thing here, do you agree that that is what we have so far? Do you agree that that's what we have so far here? 39, 128, 81, 121, 52. So now we have a small problem, right? We have 1, 2, 3 different regions that we have not filled in. And again, we use this number, 39, we use this number, we use this number, we use this number, we use this number. So what else can we do? Well, do you agree that they give us 283 drinking tea? Meaning the tea circle, my red circle, do you agree that the total capacity of this tea circle is 283? And if I have this whole circle 883, what have I used? Do you agree that I use 52, I use 128, I use 39? Meaning I have to take 283, subtract what I have to give me the leftover, which is 64. Meaning if you take this individual number, if you take this number, if you take this number, take this number, take this number, and you take this number, if you take this 4 number, you add up, that should give you the total of the people who drinking tea, right? So looking at this item, we done with this number 2, we done with the 283. Now, there are 2 things, which is, what does it mean at least? Do you agree that as long as they drinking 1 item, as long as they drink tea, or as long as they drink milk, or as long as they drink coffee, they drink at least 1 type? And they might have some that drink 2 type, and they might have some that drink 3 type. But as long as they drink 1 of them, as long as they drink tea, as long as they drink milk, or as long as they drink coffee, they drink 1 of them. So at least 1, meaning at least 1 item, which is, do you agree the total is 690, not 90, 609. And I need to subtract what I accounted for. I need to subtract I used the 52, I need to subtract that away from 609. I need to subtract this away. I need to subtract this. I need to subtract that. So whatever I use, I need to subtract them. So that left me with, if I subtract it, it will leave me with 124. And that 124 is in here because I know that in this item, whoever in this 3 circle, they must drink at least 1 of them. They must drink at least 1 of them. And that's why I have the total of this item is 609. But I don't know this region because the information did not give me how many people drink milk and coffee, but not tea, right? They don't give me that answer. So I have to kind of manipulate my way around it to find this number. And lastly, we know that this is what we have is at least 609. We can take the total 686 minus the at least to give us 77 people does not drink none of these 3 items. They may drink soda, right? They might drink Coke or Sprite. So looking at this item here, this is, the information provided to you guys. The information provided to us is a little bit different, and that's the challenge that you guys have to overcome is, when do we do this kind of item, start in center and subtract your way out? Or when will you just using the information they give us, okay? If they spell it out like this, we just use the information they give us, okay? So let me stop for a bit and ask you guys question on where my number came from. Because if you did the homework, you probably saw this already. Whoever finished chapter 2, you already saw this. Question?
Yes, I'm stuck on the part where you have the 283 of students drink tea. I'm still confused because when you came with 64, I was thinking 64 would be all 3. When you put it in the
right, 64 is all 3. Right. Take a look at. Let's go back. Right. Give me 1 second. So if you go back, we got to this part. We use every number. We use every number to this part, right? We use this item. We use this item. We use this item. We use this item. We use this item, right? This item say, so you see that we are missing right here. We're missing this item. We're missing this item, and we're missing this item. We can find this item, but we cannot find this too. Okay, so yes, I agree with you that the 64, whatever this answer, those are the people who drink in all three. But the information they give us, they don't give us the anything that drink all three. Do you see any of up here? None of this number say that the number of students drink all three drink is this, right? They don't have it. So we have to manipulate our way around this item in the way that, well, we know. Do you agree that if you are in this circle, if you're in this blue circle, you drinking tea? Agree? I don't care about milk. I don't care about coffee. I know that this circle right here, the one that I just blocked, those are the tea circle. So what is the total tea circle we have? Well, the total tea circle they give me is 283. You still with me here?
Yes.
So I know that the total of that circle is 283, but I already used this number. I already used this number. I already used this number. What does that mean? Well, if I know the total is 283, I can just subtract what I use, which is I use the 52, I use the 128, I use the 39, because those are the people in my T circle. Those are the territory I'm looking at, the T territory, and those people in my territory, I need to deduct them out. And if I deduct them out, do you agree that this is what I have? Once I deduct them out, I take, you type this in your calculator, 283 minus, you get 64. So where do we missing? Well, the only place that we're missing is this location that is filled to, in order to fill my T circle, this is the only item that I'm missing, right? To fill my T circle, and that's where the 64 came in.
Okay.
And the 64, yes, you are right. The 64 is the people who drink in all three types. They drink in tea and milk and also coffee. Yes, that is correct. It's just that the information provided to you guys, the information they give us here, they don't give us information. We have to maneuver our way around it to get to that information.
Okay.
So if this question right here, if they say how many students drink all three types of this drink, then the answer is 64.
Okay. I guess it was throwing me off because I didn't see as far as they were saying all three types, and that's the part that I got stuck on with the homework because I didn't see all three types. So that's why I went around and did something else.
Right. Yeah. That's why I told you, look, when you read the homework, look, make sure this one here, they say all three restaurants. So if they say all three restaurants, that's where you start in the center, right? But the problem we have right here, they don't mention that. So we have to kind of work our way into it. Okay.
Okay.
Any other question here? So everybody got how to dissect, how to analyze your data. And one thing about Math 120, is you can see the math here is easy. The math is just subtraction, addition, subtraction, addition. One thing about Math 120 and Math 203 is the wording, right? Is the word problem. How can you analyze this English language to something in terms of the math language? So it's not the math that give you guys trouble. It's the English, right? It's the wording, right? How and that's your best, right? All of you guys love word problem. Just kidding. That's the thing about word problem is easy if you can translate them to the math. So it's not the math that kill you guys. It's not the math that difficult. It's how can you take the word and analyze it to the math problem. And if you can do that, ladies and gentlemen, this class is very doable. To finish this thing off, they ask you how many students drink milk. Again, they ask you how many drink milk, which is if you in a milk circle, if you in the milk circle, you are drinking milk. So everybody see that this 4 items, those are the people are in my milk circle. Doesn't matter if they drink tea, and I don't care because they did not tell me to exclude the people drink tea or exclude the people drinking coffee. They just in general, how many people drink milk. So I just take this 4 number, add them up to give me 437 students drinking milk. Okay. So given this thing here, you know, and like I mentioned, if you did the homework already, you probably saw this problem. And this is the exact, well, when you go back, the number might change. You know, they might run a different number, but this is the exact wording that they use. And I just want to use the exact wording so that if you encounter it, you won't get confused in terms of those exact wording. So question with this particular problem here, ladies and gentlemen. Question with anything we covered today. Is it a little bit better or worse?
Better.
Hopefully better. This is just this is the Venn diagram we have last time. No, we did this already. It's just instead of doing by hand like I show you last time, instead of doing by hand, we just doing with the Venn diagram. And again, this is the answer that we shaded for A. This is the answer we shaded for B. This is the answer we shaded for C. And this is the answer we shaded for D. So you just look at where we shaded, and those are the items inside my A, B, and C. Okay. But again, question with anything here.